I know this was beyond stupid. I'm fully aware of how reckless it was, and I don't need anyone telling me again. What happened a few months ago shook me so hard that I haven't done anything like it since. But I need to get this out of my system, because I think if I don't, I'll go crazy. This happened about 6 months ago. I'm a teenager, and yeah, a dumb one. For a while, I had this little ritual. When life got too loud, school pressure, home tension, just general mental noise, I'd sneak out at night and walk. No music, no phone. Just me, the quiet, and the empty streets. I found peace in the solitude. My parents never let me out past dark, so I'd hop the backyard fence around 2 a.m. and just roam. I had a usual route. I'd walk through another neighborhood, cut onto a winding back road, and head toward a plaza with fast food joints and a few shops. I never went in, just circled, watching the lights, listening to the world sleep. That night started like any other. I was at the plaza for maybe half an hour, killing time. At one point, I picked up a plastic spoon off the sidewalk, just some random trash, and out of boredom, I started grinding it against the concrete. Slowly shaved the bowl of it down till half of it was gone. It was oddly satisfying. That detail matters later. Eventually, I left the plaza and walked to this small park about 10 minutes from my house. I always ended my walks there, lying on a table bench and staring into the stars. The park creeps me out a little. It's surrounded by a dense ring of trees, and at night it feels like something might be watching from inside them. That night, the air was cold, still. I lay there in the dark, thinking about nothing and everything, when I suddenly heard a whistle. An old man's whistle. Slow, deliberate, shrill enough to make my blood run cold. I sat up so fast it made my head spin. At the park entrance, the only one, a man stood beneath the flickering orange glow of a distant streetlight. His outline was familiar, tall, thin, slouched posture. I recognized him. I'd seen him around town for years, wandering through neighborhoods, staring into windows, always alone. If it weren't for the fact that he wore the same tidy button-up shirt and cargo pants every day, I'd have thought he was homeless. My mom and I once assumed he was mentally ill, probably living with a caretaker or in a group home. She told me not to stare when we passed him. We'd only interacted once, months before this night, when I walked past him in daylight and he randomly said, "Jesus loves you," with this strange little grin. I awkwardly replied, "I know," even though I'm not religious. That was it. I hadn't thought about him since. But now, in that dark, silent park, it wasn't just creepy, it was wrong. We stared at each other far longer than I should have allowed. My brain told me to move, but my body stayed still, like something ancient in my blood froze up. Then, slowly, he started walking toward me. His steps weren't rushed, just calm, confident, like he had all the time in the world and knew I wouldn't move. And he was right.
When he got within a few feet of me, I could see his face, that same crooked little grin. But this time, it felt personal. He looked like he knew something, like he was in on some joke I hadn't been let in on yet. I couldn't speak, couldn't breathe. He reached out, and I flinched, but all he did was pat my shoulder, or maybe not a pat, more like a grip, firm, purposeful. And then he reached into his pocket and pulled out my plastic spoon. The one I'd picked up and ground down on the pavement almost an hour earlier. I didn't even have time to process it. He just tucked it into the front pocket of my hoodie like it belonged there. And in that exact moment, something inside me snapped back to life. I ran. I sprinted toward the park's public bathroom, the only structure with a locking door. Slammed it shut behind me. Locked it. The light inside was dim, flickering, one of those buzzing, fluorescent tubes that feels like it hums in sync with your fear. The walls were stained, the mirror was cracked, and I was shaking. I pulled the spoon out of my hoodie and looked at it more closely. Something had been carved into the handle. Words, or what looked like words. But the more I stared at them, the less sense they made. It was like looking at an image that your brain knows should make sense, but it doesn't. Like your mind keeps trying to recognize it and fails over and over. Letters that don't exist, shapes that almost resemble familiar ones but melt into something wrong. It made me nauseous. I sat in that disgusting bathroom for maybe 30, 40 minutes. No phone, no clock, just my breath and the slow, creeping dread that he was still out there. When I finally got the courage to unlock the door, I ran as fast as I've ever run in my life. But just before I turned the path toward the exit, something made me look back. He was sitting on the bench beside the bathroom, silent, still watching.
I don't know if he saw me looking, but I didn't wait to find out. I ran until my lungs burned and didn't stop until I was crouched behind a bush near my backyard, trying to catch my breath. Then I climbed the fence, snuck back inside, and locked every door and window in the house. I haven't gone on a single night walk since. I still have the spoon. I shoved it into the back of my wardrobe, behind some old clothes. I haven't looked at it since. But sometimes, I wonder how long he had been following me that night. I wonder if it was the first time, or if he's been watching me every night I've ever gone out. And I wonder if when I wake up around 3 a.m. without reason,